Okay, so in this video we're continuing on with Pythagoras' theorem. In this video we're actually going to do some calculating. We're going to calculate the hypotenuse. So we're going to find out what the value of the hypotenuse is. Let's take a quick look at this first triangle here so you can see what I'm talking about. Now it's a right angle triangle. Remember, Pythagoras only works when there's right angle triangles. So here we have a right angle triangle, so Pythagoras is going to work. We have a side that's 3 centimetres, we have a side that's 4 centimetres, and then we have this unknown side. And the goal is to figure out what that unknown side is. Now, first of all, you should remember that Pythagoras' theorem is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Okay, and you should also remember that c is the hypotenuse. Okay, so first step of this triangle is to label all of the sides. It's really important that you label all those sides before you get started. So let's find the hypotenuse. Now remember, the hypotenuse is the longest side. It's also the side that is opposite the right angle. So here's the right angle. The side that's opposite the right angle, it's this one. So that's the hypotenuse, which means that this is side C. Now side A and B, we don't care. This could be side A and this could be side B, or this could be side A and this could be side B. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to label them however I feel like it. So I'll call this one A and I'll call this one B. Okay, so that's step 1, labeling the triangle. Step 2, we're actually going to get into working this out. So first of all, write your formula. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Now we need to replace each of these letters with the number that it represents in the triangle. So C represents X, okay, so it's going to be X squared. Now I'm just replacing the C in the original equation with the X that appears in the triangle. Now the A is next. I'm going to replace the A with the number 3. Okay, the A side is worth 3 here. And then I'm going to replace the side B here. So B is 4 centimetres, so we replace with 4. Now don't write centimetres in there as well, just write the number. We'll put centimetres in at the very end of the question. Okay. Now remember, 3 squared means 3 times 3. So you can type this into your calculator 2 ways. You can write 3 times 3 in there if you wanted to, or you can press the squared button on your calculator. If you need help with that, let me know. I'll come around and show you how it's done. 3 squared, it's 9. And 4 squared, again, that's either 4 times 4 or 4 squared. That's 16. Okay, so that means that x squared is equal to 9 plus 16. Again, you can feel free to type this into your calculator. 9 plus 16 is 25. Okay, this is where a lot of people make a mistake. They stop here, they say, right, I'm finished, the answer is 25. No. Remember, you want to find x. You don't want to find x squared. So the last step here is to find out what x is. And the way that we get rid of that squared is by taking the square root of both sides. Okay, now that might look a little bit strange, but you'll get used to the process. If you want to get rid of a squared, the opposite of squared is square root. Okay, so the square root of x squared is simply x. That's always the case. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 25. Now some of you will already know that. If you don't, you can type it into your calculator. Your calculator will give you an answer. The square root of 25 though is 5. Now finally, 5 what? It's 5 centimetres. Don't forget to put your units in here. Okay, so that's my solved triangle there. Now, I worked through that one really slowly. I'm going to work through this one really, really quickly so you can see that the process doesn't change, doesn't matter what the triangle is. Really quickly. First step, Pythagoras' theorem. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Second step, label your triangle. Find the hypotenuse. There's the right angle. Opposite the right angle is my hypotenuse, so that's C. Now the other ones, A and B, doesn't matter where we put them. So I'm going to call this A and I'm going to call this B. Next step, put in your values into your equation. So C is X, X squared, A is 10 and B is 12. Okay, now feel free to do this in your calculator. 10 squared is 100 plus 12 squared is 144. Next step, add those two together. X squared equals 244. I'm going to move this out of the way. Sorry, x squared equals 244. Last step, just like we did over here, square roots. Square root of x squared equals the square root of 244. Now remember that the square root of x squared is simply x. Now even I can't do this in my head, so I'm going to use a calculator. The square root of 244 equals the decimal answer, 15.62. Now check your triangle. All of the units are in meters, so this must be meters. Our final answer is 15.62 meters. Okay, so just keep in mind that when you're doing these questions, the process doesn't change and the communication is really important. Step, 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 step. Don't miss any of those steps. That's Pythagoras' theorem. In the next one, we're going to figure out how to